Hi. Sarah Narkelberg. This gal is one of my favorite people in town. You know why? She has a heart of total compassion. Any little animal she sees that is in trouble or needs help or anything, she's right there. Whether it's a raccoon or a dog or a cat or whatever it is, Sarah's right there. She loves cows too, and she used to have one that grew up into a big bull. She had such compassion on it that it thrived. Anyway, Sarah Norkelberg is also good at gardening. She has gone to the fair so many times and comes home usually with a blue ribbon for all of the things, the vegetables and everything she grows. And you know why she's so successful at it? It's because she's real careful with her garden. Now when spring comes around, she has one of them machines that got blades on the front, and she pushes that through the dirt. Cultivator, that's what it's called. So she pushes that through the dirt so that last year's dirt comes up from the bottom and becomes the dirt on the top. And the dirt that's on the top becomes the dirt down on the bottom. And she goes through and she mixes this up, and she gets to the other side and she goes through again, and she gets all of this dirt all loose and mixed up. And you know, it gives those little earthworms a good chance to get well acquainted with one another. Whoops! Oh, hello, what's your name? How are you? So she gets that dirt, that soil all mixed up real nice and fine. And then you know what else she does after that? She puts a little fertilizer on it, and then she mixes that in with it. And then she plants little seeds. She makes furrows, little rows, and she plants the little seeds for her different vegetables every so often. And some of her things that she plants, they call them hills. She'll like pumpkins or squash or things, and those little seeds she'll plant together, like 3 or 4 of them, and real close together. And then they start sprouting out, and like I said, they're called hills. And you know, those little plants, she kind of puts them over to the side a little bit, because they got a habit of, they like to, when they're vines and they grow, and they like to go visit in other parts of the garden. They go over here and they say, oh, this looks good, let's look and see the tomatoes. Well, she has to kind of keep those vines under control. But whatever Sarah does with her garden, and you know what else? She makes sure that they're in a spot where they get plenty of the sun and plenty of the rain that comes down. And the Bible tells us this too, that in fact, Jesus told this story about a farmer that planted some seeds. And we got to be sure our seeds are planted. Jesus is called the Son of Righteousness. S-U-N, he called himself. The Son of Righteousness that shines on us and helps us to grow. He's also called the water of life, the rain from heaven that helps us to grow. And the soil is the Word of God that we can grow in with the fertilizer and the nutrients that come from the ground. So Jesus kind of likens our Christian lives like to being growing a garden. In fact, Jesus told this story very much like this. There were so many people around him, he couldn't hardly stand it, and he went out in a little boat just off the shore of the Sea of Galilee, and he started teaching them on the shore from the boat because they wanted to hear some of his parables, some of his stories. And he told of a farmer that did just this thing. But you know, he told about a farmer that he scattered seed on the rocks, but it didn't take root because it was rocky soil. And then he told about seed that was scattered on bad soil, and the wind just came and blew it away, and it didn't take root. And then he told about seeds that were planted in good, rich soil, but the farmer allowed the weeds to grow in with those seeds, and the weeds grew so big and fast, they choked out all the good little seeds and killed the good little seeds. And so Jesus was saying, be sure you're planted in good soil, get plenty of the sun of righteousness, and be sure you get plenty of the living water, and don't let any weedy, bad companions come in and choke you out. And that's what sin does to us. When we hang around sin an awful lot, it has a tendency to choke out the good seeds. So Sarah Norkelberg is really good with her garden. She takes such good care of it, and she makes sure that the companions all stay in their places, but the little ones that like to go around and visit, they've got their place too. But she takes control of her garden, and her kitties are always out there with her too. Oh, the cats love digging in the soil and darting around between the sweet corn or the tomato plants and playing with the bugs and playing with each other. So her garden has become a really delightful place, and she usually, almost all the time, brings home a blue ribbon from the fair because her vegetables are the most beautiful, big examples of what a squash should look like, or what an ear of corn should look like, or what a tomato should look like, because she's very careful. And you know, we have to be that way in our lives too. If we are planted in the ground, we got to be sure that we let the Lord nurture us, take care of us, and we're like farmers too. And so when we're growing in the ground, we got to be sure that we stay away from weedy, bad companions that want to choke us out. Stay around the away from the dry ground where you're not getting any water of life or no nourishment. Stay away from the winds that can so easily blow us one direction or another with different thoughts and ideas and interests. So Jesus likens our lives to being like a garden, and he wants to take good care of us. And so that's why I love Sarah Norkelberg. Not just because she does that, but I just think she's a wonderful gal inside to begin with. So we're not competing for a state fair or anything, but in our lives we'll be so much happier. It reminds me of Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? I like that poem. So we got to be sure our garden is well cared for. If we don't water it, and if we get weedy, bad companions, it's not going to be very good. Okay, I love you guys. Bye-bye. Sarah Norkelberg. I love that gal. Bye-bye.